There is something wrong with my neighbor. He has become very strange lately. I don't know what to do. I have no one to tell my story, so I write it on paper. I don't know why. Maybe someone will find this note. I live alone in an apartment. No wife. I only talk to Mr. Brown, my neighbor. We often visit each other and talk. But we began to meet rarely, because I disappeared at work all day. There was a lot of work. There was no time even to talk to a neighbor. Once I was returned home at night, I really wanted to sleep, and I was already walking to my entrance. The light in the apartment was almost not on. I paid attention to Mr. Brown's window. He just looked out the window. Why can't he sleep? I thought and went to my floor. At home, I made tea. I went out onto the balcony to listen to the silence of the night. I again looked out the window of Mr. Brown. The light in his apartment turned on and off. Just drunk, I said. I finished my tea and went to bed, but I didn't sleep long. Someone rang my doorbell. It was 1 in the morning on the clock. Sleepily, I went to the door. I looked at the peephole and saw a neighbor. He was standing in front of the door and saying something. I opened the door and asked, "Mr. Brown, why are you awake?" "Steve, listen, help me." "What's happened?" "Someone is following me. I'm afraid to go to my house. Can I spend the night at your place?" "No, Mr. Brown, no one is following you. Go home." I closed the door and looked through the peephole again. Mr. Brown stood right in front of the door and looked through the peephole, and then pushed my door and ran down the stairs. I returned to bed. At night, I often woke up from strange sounds, as if someone was knocking on the wall. Well, then it started. People started disappearing in our house. First, Mrs. Anderson went missing on the ground floor. This grandmother was the kind and quiet of all the people in the house. Her daughter came to her, but she is not at home, only the door is open. The police were called and an investigation began. The next night, a mother with a child from the second floor disappeared. I didn't like it. For some one reason, I always thought about my neighbor. The next night, I didn't sleep. I kept thinking about it. Suddenly, I heard a loud sound outside the door. I ran and looked at the peephole. There was Mr. Brown. He was going downstairs. He held an axe in his hand, and with him he carried his grandmother from the third floor. Suddenly, he looked at my door. He came closer and smiled through the peephole. I got scared and called the police. As it turned out, the bodies of the murdered residents of the house were found in my neighbor's apartment, and the neighbor hanging himself in the apartment.